Hey, everybody. This is Tiffany Carlson, and you're listening to Life After Paralysis. And it's almost fall, and we're doing a new show. And we decided to have someone on that we did an outreach thing about a month ago. And Chris was one of these people that came to me and said, "Hey, I would love to be on your show because I have a story to tell you." And I was pretty easy to remember this person. So when I was thinking about people to do the show with, I was like, let's talk to Chris. So, Chris, how are you? Welcome.
Good. I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I love your accent. You are from Missouri, right?
Missouri, but born in Nebraska. So I
Oh,
have this weird northern southern thing going on.
I like that.
So,
Sounds cute. Yeah. Are you like in a small town then, or what kind of life are you living out there? Mhm.
yeah, I grew up in a town of 75 people.
What?
So I've
Oh,
spent most of my life in very small towns. And
wow.
I moved to a town of 150.
Wow. Wow. So
So,
that's your normal then, huh?
yeah, I go to work in the big city of like 8,000 or something. It's not, it's still small.
Okay, I have so many questions about that, but I don't want to get off track here. That's really interesting, though, to grow up in a small town life like that. I think I would like that actually, because you know everybody, right?
Yeah, that's good and bad.
Good and
Uh, as far as wheelchair accessibility, usually pretty bad.
really, even if they know you, they don't put ramps in the stores for Chris because hey, Chris is in town. We got to put a ramp out for him. No,
You would be surprised how bad it is.
I'm sorry to hear that. Well, that's too bad. Well, I think it's cool
I'm
that
working on it though.
you're
That's another side project I'm
an
doing.
advocacy thing. Yes, you have to make people aware of these like, a couple steps is a huge thing for someone in a wheelchair. And I know a lot of
That's,
people in other countries, they'll like, oh, they'll tell you, well, we'll let you in, we'll carry you up the stairs. That's not accessibility.
that's right.
If I need your help, that's not really working for me. So I hope you can talk to them. That's not it's like, I mean,
Oh, they hear from me plenty.
oh, you've already started it? Okay.
Oh yeah,
Is
yeah.
it one of those things where they're grandfathered in and or are they just not following the law with the ADA?
Some think they're grandfathered in, which that's not really a thing.
Right?
I've read all the laws. I've got the books.
Seriously? So
Yeah,
no one's grandfathered in at all?
no, unless it's historically significant.
Seriously, that's good
And
to know.
some of these warehouses are not, they're not historically significant. Some people just laugh and say they didn't even know those were laws. Not a thing.
Okay.
Uh, oh, they usually always blame it on whoever owns the building. They're
Okay.
like, not our fault. We don't own the building. It's like, no, everybody's responsible. I've had some mild success. I've had some people argue with me, and
How do you approach a building owner? Like, what's the best method?
I'm pretty blunt anymore. I've been in chair for a little over 19 years,
Yep. Yep.
so I just roll up to them and say, hey, you don't have a ramp, and I tell them, no, it's against federal state law. There's a really big fine if you don't.
Mhm.
I said, let's get. I've tried the nice approach. It doesn't work. You
Yep.
just have to be firm, not mean, but firm.
That's great. That's great. I think a lot of people in wheelchairs are very afraid to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I I didn't want to do it for so long. I didn't want to be that guy.
That's what we all worry about. I don't want to be that woman. Right.
But
So what do you
after so
do?
many years and after running so many businesses,
Yep.
I don't feel that I should have to work extra hard to spend my money at your store.
Good point.
So
Yep.
people
Very
are
good
either
point.
going to put up a ramp or I'll take my business elsewhere. It doesn't bother me.
I think that's a great way to look at it. Most people in chairs need takes them a few years to get brave enough, but once you get brave enough, we need more
Yeah,
advocates. We need more people to get out there. So,
and getting older and more mature has helped a bunch. And I just don't care as much about what they think.
yeah,
I have things I need to get done.
right. In this life of ours, and life is short. You only have so many years, right? If I want to try to be an advocate and make a change in this life, we got to do it today.
Oh
So,
yeah, and I want to be able to help the next guy, so maybe he doesn't have to encounter. Like I've met a lot of business owners. They're like, "Well, you're the first person that's ever been here in a chair," and it's like because your parking lot is 4 inches of loose gravel. I'm the only one dumb enough to go through it.
yeah, you're a younger guy that has the balls to do it. Most old people are going to go like, "No, that's too much work for me," you know.
Or even somebody in my same physical situation that doesn't have the strength that I would,
Right.
they would just drive down the road. And when I explain that to them, they kind of a light bulb goes off in their head that should have went off anyway. Or they'll be like, "Oh, my nephew's in a chair," and I'm like, why don't you make your business successful? Well, I don't really think about it.
People.
People drive me nuts.
It's really, really funny. I think when you become paralyzed, it's such, I didn't really think about this though before I was in a chair, I'll be real. That is how it was. So I think, were you aware of any of this before you got injured? You were 18, right? When you got injured?
I was 18 and
Mhm.
I was, at that time, I was already building houses. I was doing concrete work and I was going to school for construction. So I knew about ramps and ADA stuff. I just thought it was part of building
Right.
at a young age, but I didn't know anybody in a chair. I knew nothing about accessibility.
Mhm.
I just knew from my teachers that this is code. This is why you build it to code. There's so many places have built new buildings not to code
Yeah.
because
Well,
the cities don't enforce it typically. And it's up to people like me. And, I've made a few enemies here and there, but I don't really care. I'll go down the road to another business, but I will still make sure they get a rent put in.
have you ever went so far as to contact a lawyer or to have like a lawyer that like is like your like your Robin to your Batman?
Well, the state of Missouri and I are taking care of one company right
Okay.
now.
Mhm.
So they're litigating on my behalf. So I've officially kind of turned them in. But I've been arguing with them for months and they won't do anything. And this is a place I've spent over $100,000 at. And they aren't good enough to, and these are people I've known for 30 years and they
Okay.
still won't do it.
Can we
So I
name
kind of escalated it a little bit. And I warned them. I said, you screw around, you're going to find out.
Do you want to name names? Can we name who the company is, or probably not? Not a good idea yet.
Oh, yeah. A forklift of Cape in Southeast Missouri.
All right, there it is. All right. Well, can I ask you a little bit just how you were injured? I did the Googling, I know, but for people listening, do you mind just briefly sharing your injury story?
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not too exciting. When I was 18, right after high school, I was actually teaching my girlfriend at the time how to drive a manual transmission because that's what my truck was. And she just got a little loose on a county road. We were going 15, 20 miles an hour. And the truck rolled one time. I didn't have my seatbelt on, and I broke C5 and 6.
Wow,
And
that's
incomplete.
crazy. You hit your head on the roof?
Yep.
So did the car have to roll for that to happen, or was it just like?
It rolled. So the edge of the
Mhm.
road kind
Mhm.
of dropped off a whole bunch. It was a big embankment.
Oh, okay.
And when it hit the edge, it just kind of just went on its top pretty much. Like it wasn't this big devastating crash. It
Right.
was
That can
most
happen that way. Yeah.
nobody was drinking. I had just gotten off work. I was
Man.
building basements that day, and
So, wow.
we were going swimming because it was too hot.
So what did you know right away? Like, yeah, I broke my neck. This is definitely I did, or were you kind of confused
I
about
had
what's
no idea.
happening?
I was terrified, confused. I just didn't know. I thought I was an invincible 6 foot, 200 pound kid. I thought nothing could hurt me, and I knew my neck hurt really bad. And it was the worst helicopter ride I've ever had. And I like
Oh, you
helicopters.
had a helicopter ride. Where'd they take you?
To St. Francis here in Cape Girardeau. We do have a trauma center,
Okay.
and that's where they did the fusion and then put me in a halo and all.
And how long were you in the hospital? How long did they keep you in that jail?
Well, just 2 weeks in Cape, and then I went to St. Louis.
St. Louis.
So at the time, Cape was still building their outpatient or inpatient rehab centers, where there wasn't anything here. So, but they had some of the best spinal surgeons in the country, luckily. So I had a really good surgeon, and then they shipped me up to St. Louis. Those 3.5 months total. The whole time.
Wow. And then you went home. I see that you have an incomplete injury. So were you able to learn how to do all of your own daily living, the activity, needs and stuff?
It took some time, but I was I was back driving within 9 months.
That's awesome.
So I was pretty probably 5 or 6 months, and I could pretty much handle everything myself.
That's awesome. I can't believe that. That's very fast, I would say. I think that's pretty dang
I'm,
good.
I'm very stubborn.
So you have one pretty good hand, I think, right? That you can use almost pretty normally. That's awesome. That
And
makes it easy.
it has dexterity, not full dexterity.
Okay.
The what is it, like 35 pounds of grip strength,
Cool.
which I'm very, very fortunate. They used to be a lot more than that, but I've had more surgeries since that surgery.
Oh, you had. Okay.
I'm pretty
Wow.
hard on myself.
Well, I'm jealous. I won't lie, but that's okay. We'll talk about that. But so
This,
yeah,
this,
what
this
I
one
do.
though is nothing. I
Um,
know how you feel in a
oh,
certain way. I mean, my right hand didn't get good for about a year.
okay.
So even though I was driving, I probably shouldn't. A little sketchy sometimes.
So how did you become a motivational speaker after your injury? Was this something that happened right away, or was it several years after?
Quite a few years after. It was
Mhm.
after I started my metal shop. Somebody at the hospital reached out to me and said, "Hey, you want to do the Think First program?"
Okay.
And he was the school board president of where I used to go to school, and he just like, "Come with me." And I was like, "Sure, why not?" I had no training. I had no idea what I was doing.
Whoa. Okay.
So he's like, "Oh, you'll be fine." But I had been on the news a couple times, and there have been some stories written about my
So people
business.
knew about your injury and that kind of thing. Yep.
The other hospitals did.
Okay.
I'm a frequent flyer at the hospitals. I'm always there. More injuries and get burned mostly.
No, is that from your welding and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, we're gonna talk about that after. But I was asked to be a speaker for Think First, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I don't know. I felt a little bit embarrassed about like, don't be stupid like me and break your neck.
Well,
That's why I
that's
didn't want
pretty
to
much
do
what I was telling.
it.
That was pretty much my speech.
Yeah, yeah, it's
But
true.
I mean, I felt I felt that see by that point I was already racing rally cars. So
Cool,
I'd come in there with all my safety gear and all the cool stuff. But
nice.
I was hoping that would maybe my message would get through because I remember high school.
Yep.
Uh, I don't know what they call it. When speakers would come into the high school, we would not pay attention at all.
Oh God, no, me
It
either.
was it was like, hey, we got out of class for the day. But when I showed them, me jumping the car and all this stuff, I said, look, I'm not trying to ruin your fun. I'm here to make prolong your fun.
Ooh,
Like
I love it.
this chair is not fun. So you just a little seatbelt
That's good.
goes a long way. And
That's
but
power. Yeah.
I didn't want to be the boring old guy. So
Yeah,
I
you
showed up with a racing helmet and all my head and neck restraints and all my
love it. I bet you
nope.
got through to a lot of kids. How many years did you do it? Are you still doing it?
Nope, just did it for a couple years and then I went back to more focusing on my business and
All right. Well, that's what I want to talk about. So you have all these businesses going on. Like you're a welder, metal artist, fabricator guy, and then you do rally racing. And was this stuff all that you wanted or were interested in before you broke your neck, or are these like all things that you discovered post injury?
all posted.
Wow,
Uh,
cool.
Pre-injury, I wanted to be a heavy equipment operator and a carpenter, and that's what I was doing before I, got hurt. I was running heavy equipment. I was enrolled to go to school and get my certificates for with Caterpillar, and
Cool.
I was ready to do the whole thing. And then, then this happened, and it took a couple years to hold on a second.
How you doing?
What's up, Al?
Hey, we're doing a podcast, Al. Hey.
Hi.
Hey, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good.
Oh boy, feels good in here.
I know it's hot out there, isn't
You
it?
got to turn down. 82.
I didn't mess with that.
Huh?
I didn't mess with that.
Yeah, make it feel a little warm in here a little bit.
That's fine.
All right, get on over here.
I have to now.
All right.
Like real life in the house of Chris Hrabik over there. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm at my other job because I don't seem to have enough jobs.
Well, you are busy. Well, okay, don't worry about that. I think that's kind of funny. But so, all right, so
He should be the last driver that there's. So they put me in my office is in the old body shop of this
okay.
building. So they keep it's an independent living center. So all their vans are in here. He was the last driver for the day. I forgot about that.
Is he the guy that picks up people and drives them around to their homes? That's cool.
He's my only male coworker. I have 40 female coworkers here.
Oh no, it's a lot.
But no, like everything that I've done is pretty much new interest. Well, I still love to build things. I've been building things since I was little. And because I couldn't really hold a hammer and a nail, and screw guns and all the cool stuff we have now didn't exist. But it's a whole story too. I really became a welder
Yeah.
so I could build race cars. That's pretty much what happened. And I turned out a welder I could trigger with my hand, and a welder was easier for me to use than a hammer.
I see.
So
There you go. That's because
so I became a welder.
wow, awesome. Because that makes sense. That welder, they're so powerful by themselves. You just got to be able to control it, right? The welding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's easier than people think.
Mhm.
I've got a few other people in chairs back to welding because they didn't think they could, and
Yeah.
I'm like, man, yeah, you can.
Is it very satisfying to be in it with the mask and building things like that? I mean, I've seen some videos of you, like you're like bending over in your chair, you're down in it. Like,
Oh, if you had no idea.
no wonder you get injured all the time and you're at the hospital.
I used to have
It's
this
fun
14
though.
year old. I had this Bobcat, which is like a track skid steer.
Mhm.
It was one of the ones I had in my business, and I would get in the bucket of it, and I would have my 14-year-old, it was my friend's kid who was 14. I was in the bucket, he was in the machine, and he'd be picking me up to weld and things. I like, since I have my own business, OSHA didn't really care about me. So I put myself in a lot of precarious positions over the years.
What do you ever like build just commissioned art pieces, or is it usually just like parts for cars?
A lot of art.
Okay.
Sculpture is my favorite, and I just took a commission work on a big sign to do. I get to start that.
Cool.
So in my free time, so
I love
whenever
that.
that
Yeah, it's
is.
so interesting. I think, getting into an art after an injury is really therapeutic as well. Do you find it to be soothing to the soul as well, to be creating?
Yeah, it's I like being creative,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I like doing things that other people haven't done. And most everything what I do is one off. I very rarely duplicate anything.
So cool.
But I've kind of done it all. You've seen the pictures I've worked on, heavy equipment. I'll make little roses and flowers. And the first thing I ever made was actually a sunflower.
Made out of metal?
Yep. So that one metal sunflower has now evolved into 30-foot vintage signs that are all lit up like
Oh my
marquee signs.
God. Do you have a website
Yeah.
where people can see these things on is it on your Instagram mainly or
Instagram mainly,
okay.
and Facebook. So
That's,
Apple Creek Metalworks on Facebook.
you should get
I
your
haven't updated it much lately because I just built the new shop. So
love it. I've seen so many people recreate vintage signs, like they're recreating these vintage signs all across the United States, like these old motel signs are being recreated. So there's a business opportunity there if you want to start recreating old vintage shit. People love that stuff. Mhm. I love
I
it.
know, and it's really fun.
Super cool.
I like it.
It's very interesting. I love it. I can talk to you
Um,
all the time. We don't have time. So here's what I really want to talk to you about before we run out of Zoom time, because Zoom's going to start yelling at me and I'm going to get all crappy because I want to ask you about your driving school. You're creating an
oh,
adaptive driving school. Are you still planning this, right?
yes, absolutely.
Okay, so how far along are you in getting this business like up and running? I know you told me you founded old Air Force Base or something.
Yeah, I bought some property on an Air Force base, a retired one, and I worked out deals with the owners of the old runways, and they're like, "Oh heck yeah, Chris, you come down here, do whatever you want."
Get out.
So yeah, I'm going to start an adaptive driving school, and this is my holy grail. This is what I've been wanting to do for 15, 20, not 20 years, but for probably the last 18 years, because I wish it was around when I got hurt, something like this, and the way I'm doing it doesn't exist because it's going to be fully inclusive. You don't have to be a veteran. You just have to be alive. And and if I don't have a vehicle that you can drive between my fab shop and all my friends, we'll make it happen.
So cool. I love this. Mm-hmm.
And we're even going to teach blind people how to drive.
This is crazy. Okay. Is this because you're going to use like sensor stuff, like AIs or something, or no?
So I do stage rally car driving. So then it's me and a co-pilot. And when we race our rallies, where they're essentially ran blind because we're not allowed to see the roads ahead of time. So my co-driver is always just telling me in my ear, my intercom, where to go. So
yeah.
we're going to do the same concept where I have some of my rally driving friends, they're going to co-drive for us, and they're just going to coach them on. They're going to have to get a system work. They'll have to work together and get a number system and a communication going. So if you're visually impaired in any degree, we've got 4 miles of runway where you can put, get in a convertible, put the top down,
Fun.
and obviously you can't drive on the highway, but
Unfortunately, yeah, this is true, but they could still
you
enjoy
know,
being on the road for 4 miles. And if it was someone, let's say they used to be able to drive, so they miss it, that's something that they would really love to relive. I know I used to have some friends in college that were blind, and they would love to do that. I know it. So cool.
and what I'm
So,
selling is really an experience. Like I want people to be able to experience the things that able-bodied people get to experience easily, and that's this is the last 20 years. This is all I've been trying to do. Is I really just want to do what my friends do.
and that's what
So
I
that's why we're
love.
gonna have hand control go karts, like hand control go karts for the kids. Like my go karts go 70.
I love it. I
So
think
I don't care
every
how.
why don't all go-karts like a single, they none of them have hand controls. I've only seen like one on the internet that has them, and I don't even know. So that's great you're making those accessible.
Yeah, Atlanta has one. Even Disney World doesn't have hand control anything.
You think they would? They're trying to be so nice to
The
everybody.
land of magic.
I
So we're just gonna do that here.
I love it.
And
Are
I've
you
partnered with a group,
are
and
you gonna
the part-time job that I'm at. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to know because I think people are out there wondering. Now, your driving school, is it gonna be regular driving school? Like we're gonna teach you how to be a good driver on the regular roads, or is it pure rally racing school?
It's all of it.
All of it.
So if you want to, if it's your very first time touching hand controls,
Mm-hmm.
all the way to advanced driving techniques.
Okay.
One of my instructors is a professional driver,
Cool.
and I'm like semi-professional. I don't know. I'm not very good,
Yeah.
but I can make you go fast. So it'll be everybody. And then the
Okay.
Missouri Department of Transportation, they want me to teach just regular high school kids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I said, sure, why not? Let's like I don't want to be exclusive whether you're on a
Anybody.
check.
Right. Everybody, as long as you're alive. I love that. As long as you're alive, we will teach you how to drive. I love it. Okay.
So
Well, yeah.
then SEMO Alliance for Disability Independence, which is an independent living center, we've
Okay.
kind of we've partnered on the basic driving courses. So that's my part-time job. That's where I'm here. I'm helping them
Ooh.
build.
So what are you
Except,
doing? What do you do exactly then for them?
well, I'm organizing their driving school, which is in conjunction with mine because I found out they wanted to start one too.
Cool.
So I said, why are we going to compete from the same area?
You shouldn't do it.
So we
Yeah.
just partnered up,
Good idea.
and we're going to have hand controlled driving simulators too.
What does that mean?
Like full motion simulators, like a race car simulator, but with hand control.
Cool. Cool. There's
So
not
you'll have
enough.
like full wraparound screens and the whole works.
That's like a ride almost. I want to do that. You could like do it
Well,
like
yeah.
a video game, like
Well,
you drive through Egypt and shit. That would be so cool.
well, yeah. You can upload anything you want to these programs, and
Yeah.
we're going to teach people who have autism and other things to drive, and it's easier to get them started in simulators to get them more comfortable before, and then we can take them to the airfield, and then we
Yep.
can take them to the highway.
How do you even
So
get a simulator? Like, is it something you have to make, or is there a place to buy stuff like that?
you can buy them, and
Okay.
they're very expensive, but
Okay.
I also can probably build one. I've got all it. I'm working with my boss about how to build it.
Cool.
I have my ideas. She has her ideas. So.
I love
My
it.
idea is cheaper.
You're like a mad professor, kind of. Yes.
Well,
Mhm.
I have a lot of interest in a lot of different things. And the other problem is the stuff that I want to do, there's not people really out there doing it to any large degree, or we don't hear about them.
Right.
And that's why I want to do more podcasts and get it out there because I know there's other people like me out there.
Yeah.
They're hiding in their houses.
They're hiding in their houses.
Like,
Yeah.
get out of your damn house.
I bet you there's probably some
It's
people right in Missouri that are probably not out leaving their homes, relatively close to you, even probably so.
oh yeah. Well, I've also found out, and I've been working on this school for about a year, that our hospitals down here cut all their driving rehab programs.
No way.
So I've met guys 2 years post injury don't even know what hand controls are.
What? They don't
They
even
don't
know
even
what
know
they
they could
are?
drive because it's a whole deal that actually makes me kind of upset.
That's
But
disgusting.
there's
I
been
feel bad for those
there's
guys.
been a massive failure. Well, they're basically told they can't do it. because they're not even given the option. And I'm like, yeah, put hand controls on whatever you want. I don't, it doesn't matter. And they're
Golf
like, well,
carts.
we had no idea,
Thank God they're meeting
because
people like yourself. How did you find these guys coming through just the independent living center then, or
at the gym.
at the
It's
gym?
okay. So
Okay, you work out too.
I've
Mm-hmm.
kind of, I hired a trainer for a little bit until my new shop got built. Now I'm too tired to go to a gym.
Yeah.
But I went there for therapy because I had a second neck fusion and then I had a bunch of nerve damage in my arm.
Oh no.
So the gym and the rehab floor is on the same floor.
Okay.
So I would run into them and just kind of casually meet these guys, and they'll always ask, or their wives will ask, like, "Do you drive?" I'm like, "Of course I do." Well, how do you do that? It's like, how do you not know this?
How do they not know this is right? I feel
But
like it's standard. Like when you leave your rehab, they should tell you this. They were not told this. It's
they
crazy.
were not told this, and luckily I went to rehab in St. Louis
Yep.
at a very big hospital,
Yep.
and they had people bring hand control vans. I was still in the halo, and I knew what hand controls were. But in more rural areas,
They
these
don't get
resources aren't available. And most people who break their necks and break their backs are farm kids on four wheelers.
Those four-wheelers are dangerous little machines, aren't they?
They're very dangerous. Yeah, I grew up with them, and luckily I didn't got hurt on them. I still got hurt, but I got hurt on a gravel road out in the country. Same. So I just think there's a lack of availability in this area. So this is my hometown.
You got to keep doing that. I know that with you think, oh, they're just going to go on Facebook and find the spinal cord injury worldwide peer support group and they'll just be great. But these people that you're meeting, it sounds like they're not really Googling like spinal cord injury information either, are they? Or
no, they're not, and which mind boggles me because when I got hurt, Google didn't really exist yet. I mean,
not 20 years ago.
I couldn't really YouTube. I couldn't YouTube anything. There wasn't much in 2000.
No, we
didn't have smartphones.
Nope, they were not around.
But all these things that I've taken interest in, I research constantly. And my dad's a research scientist, so he's taught me since I was a little kid. If you want to find something out, just research it, read books, and watch videos, and meet the people you need to meet that know how to do the thing you want to do.
And that's why YouTube is so awesome. You can teach yourself anything on there, almost.
Oh, it's a fantastic tool, and it brings exposure to more adaptive technologies that are out there. But these guys are newly injured, and like we talked about in the beginning, we didn't know anything about wheelchair anything before our accident.
Yeah.
So these guys and girls are getting hurt, and they don't even know. It doesn't even cross their mind to look it up because they don't even know what to look up.
So sad.
Because they're not given that. They're not given that initial bit of information.
No.
Like I got lucky. I had fantastic physical therapists and occupational therapists. I'm still friends with all of them.
Oh,
like
really?
they gave me these wonderful basic tools to get me to where I'm at today. And
that's awesome.
I just got lucky, and I know other people haven't got the same opportunities that I did. So I want to fix that.
I love it. I think that I don't talk to my therapist, so that's amazing. 20 years. I'm in it 30 years for me, but it is not, time goes by quick. I will say that as a paralyzed person for several decades, as you are too, it goes kind of quick, but I'm glad that, you seem like you're doing healthy today. Are you nursing any wounds right now as we speak?
No, I don't think so.
That's good. Have you ever
sure.
I know. Have you ever broken like a major like femur bone or an arm bone doing any of your welding work or anything or rally racing? No, that's good.
No, other than nerve damage and stuff, but that was from welding, and I'm always on my elbows. And you've seen the pictures. I put myself in weird spots.
I have. I'm like, that's pretty interesting.
So I've got 3 fused vertebrae now because I used to like lay my head on stuff so I could have my arms free for welding. So I'd support my body weight with my neck.
Ooh, but your doctor hated hearing that.
Yeah, but he sure liked doing the surgery.
Yeah, well, something about that. Well,
so I don't know. I don't know if I'll get to race quite like I used to. My neck hurts pretty bad anymore.
Okay.
but I'll teach other people how to do it.
Yeah, rally racing can be dangerous because of the impact, right, with the other vehicles. So you just don't want to risk hurting your neck again. That's just smart.
Yeah, we've actually had a couple deaths this year in our sport, which is pretty rare, actually.
What? A death? Are you guys going really, really? What's the max speed you guys go for that?
140.
Oh, I always think it's more like demo derby, but rally racing is totally different. Yeah.
Now, these are single lane gravel roads within like forests and trees and cliffs and
Oh, so
lakes.
they hit trees and stuff then.
And,
That's
oh
scary.
yeah, yeah. Trees are a big because we're on public roads. We get them closed down and we race against the clock.
Whoa.
So
Oh.
it's like country road cruising when you're a kid, but legal and really
This
fast.
is like Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah, it's crazy.
Imagine Dukes of Hazard. That's pretty much what we do. Just a whole lot faster, and we have helmets and 5 and 6 point harnesses, and
No, I can
like
see
it's relatively safe. But I know if I got into a big impact, my neck really doesn't bend anymore.
you do
So
not want to risk
I
it.
got to be careful.
You can be the guy
But
behind the
once I get
scenes.
my car rebuilt, I'll do it.
You'll do Don't do it. All right. Well, I got to let you go because we're running out of time, but I have one more question for you. And this is a little off topic, but you're 37. Are you married? Do you have kids? What do you want that in life? What is your personal life? Mm,
Not married, no kids.
no? Okay. Well,
Uh,
as a guy, would you want that one day? Are you looking for that? I always like to ask people in chairs this because I think they have their personal dreams. So I was just curious.
oh yeah, no, I don't want to be alone forever. And I've had a lot of girlfriends over the years. It's just
Okay. Okay.
I'm very focused and very driven to do all these things that I want to do, and that doesn't really work with relationships most of the time. I'm busy constantly. I never quit working, and it's hard to have a relationship in that situation.
Yeah, it's so hard when you're passionate about artists. See, this probably happens for a lot of artists because they're in the studio all the time doing art, and maybe their significant others like, well, I need you to come home for dinner, and like, I'm gonna work till 10. Sorry, goodbye.
Yeah, that's been a problem, and part of it I just haven't found that. I'm
Well,
sure
you
that person's out there somewhere,
well,
but
you are in a small town, which makes it difficult, of course, to meet people in small towns. But
especially when you don't go out and do that. I'm always out and about, but
okay,
I'm never in like social situations. Like I don't go out on the town. I don't go to restaurants. Or I don't try to meet people. If I'm out, it's business related. I'm
okay.
buying metal, or I'm buying something for my business, or I'm out a lot, but not to meet people.
All right. Well, thanks for answering. I always, back before I worked in this capacity, when I was newly injured in my 20s, I would write dating columns for disabled people online. And I'm always like trying to get people to meet people. I believe there's someone out there for everybody. I really do. So, but anyways, if you ever think about going online and doing online dating, you can ask me some advice on the low, though. We'll talk about this later, but I have advice. I always have advice on that. I
Okay.
don't know. Listen, it's not easy dating in a chair. I always think that is interesting, especially in small towns, because everybody knows your story. So that's always annoying. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's just there's just not a lot to pick from, and somebody's got to be
Mm-hmm.
okay with the lifestyle that I have beyond even my chair, and be cool with
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know I'm probably going to miss a dinner. I know I'm going to miss a
We're gonna miss a
dinner.
dinner. I know. Well, thanks for sharing. I think it's great to hear people's stories, and yours down there in Missouri. I think is awesome. You're doing so many good things for the community, and I think that's your
And
purpose in life.
I want the nationwide. I want everybody to come here. I want to do it to serve this area because it's a poor part of the world,
Yep.
and we just don't have a lot of stuff going on. But I want people to fly here from Utah or Florida. Like I want to develop something that special
You should do it. You
that
should start a
people will travel for.
do it. I'll come down. You should start a nonprofit where you can have we'll come down and we'll teach you for a weekend some driving stuff. You could totally do that. Get like a fundraisers going. There's a whole world awaiting you down there if you do that driving
Yeah,
thing.
and all that's in the doc or in the. It's all being kind of done exactly how you're talking. It's all going to be run nonprofit.
I love it. Wow. When
And
you
so
get it up and
that
running,
way I don't exclude anybody. I don't want to exclude anybody. I just now if somebody wants a lot of advanced training, well, you're going to have to pay for it just like I paid for stuff.
Dang right.
But I want to provide the experience at a low cost. And if you get hooked on it, then you'll change your whole life to do it.
So
Because I did.
I love to drive too. I have a minivan though, but I love to drive it. It's so fun.
Well, it's freedom. It's driving is everything. It's freedom.
Mhm. Yep. There's something
So,
about it. You know, you can't use your legs, but love wheels. So, all right. Well, I'm going to let you go because I could talk about cars and stuff too for too long. And I think Zoom is literally about to kick us out. So thank you again, Chris. And do you have an Instagram handle you would like to share real quick?
yeah, it's Crabik 713.
Okay.
That would be my Instagram channel. And then I'm on TikTok, which is my last name backwards, KIBARH86.
Okay.
And I post a lot of videos of the work that I'm doing and a lot of just goofy, dumb shit.
All right. I think people want to watch you. I know I'm going to. So thanks again. And when you have your school up and running, I'm going to ask you to come back on and we can ask you how it's going.
Oh, yeah, we'll do a Zoom from the airbase.
That's going to be awesome. Okay.
I know.
All right. Well, I'll let you go. Have a great day and thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, Chris. Yep. Bye.